Hey guys, I appreciate you for clicking on this video and taking some time to listen to me today and as you're going through your day. And my name is Joseph Lamtman, and yeah, this is something I've been planning on doing for a long time. Sharing my story to let other people know where I am, that you know you're not the only one out there, that you're not alone. And I think the best thing we can do, especially as Christian people, and yes, I am a Christian. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and I think the best thing we could do is to share our story to help people. I think that's what we're called to do. Is to we all have a testimony, and Christ calls us to share our testimony to help others. Not only does it help others, but you really help yourself as well. And this is something I was kind of, be honest with you, I've been scared to do for a long time. A lot of people, if you're watching this, maybe you know me. You haven't seen me in a long time. Maybe haven't spoken to you in a long time. I've kind of have disappeared for the last 6-7 years because I've been going through my own battle of anxiety and panic disorder. And I just wanted to kind of get on here today, just a good start video to let people know where I am and how I'm doing now and what I hope to do in the future. And so I started having health anxiety. That's what I have, is health anxiety. When I was, by the way, guys, this is going to be pretty raw. I don't know how to edit and all that stuff yet. So what you get is what you get. But, so I'm going to give a brief description of my account with anxiety and panic. And maybe you guys can relate. When I was 11 years old was when I had my first panic attack. And I was at football practice one day. And it was the first practice of the year. You go in, you're out of shape, you're not prepared. And when you're 11 years old, you don't really care about anything except just going out and having fun and living life, really. And I got a little hot when I was running, kind of overheated a little bit, and I started to panic. And I didn't know how to control this feeling. And I remember I went to the sideline to my mom and dad, and I started just freaking out. I just felt very just very disoriented and kind of just very scared. Very scary feeling. And I didn't know it took me a long time to figure out what this feeling was. And what it was a panic attack. Now I look back, obviously, but I didn't know then and years after. And I remember going over to the sideline and grabbing my mom and dad, just crying, just yelling and screaming, and just really scared. And I remember my mom and dad didn't know what to do. They're like, should we, call for help? Is he okay? Now there's other parents coming over, and they're, trying to help me out, calm me down. And so long story short, I ended up just drinking a Gatorade, taking deep breaths, settling down, felt better. I was just probably a little dehydrated, a little overheated. And I went out there and finished practicing. But little did I know that day would start to really, that was like my initial traumatizing event. And since that day, I've had a lot of subsequent events that have made me more fearful of health. I've had a health phobia where I worry about my health. I worry about, something going wrong, just like a hypochondriac. And, I grew up around some family members and people in my life that struggle with the same thing. And I think people need to remember that generational anxiety is very present in this world. I think that's an understatement. That, a lot of the habits we see from our authority figures, the people we look up to, wears down on us. And I had a lot of those habits, and I didn't know how to handle that initial event. And like I said, I had events after that made me more fearful. And it's like a snowball effect, You get one event on top of another event. Now your life's kind of just spiraling out of control. And as I started to get older, I got more into middle school. I didn't really know what was going on, but I was always on guard of my health. I would always make sure I ate something, eat a certain amount and drink a certain amount of water, and just always in survival mode. And it affected a lot of, I didn't perform as well in sports as I wanted to because of it, because I was always scared of something happening while I was playing, an ailment, or, oh my gosh, what if I get this feeling? How am I going to react? Oh my gosh, I'm going to embarrass myself. And that's really been the biggest thing for me is embarrassment, because when I look back at that initial day when I was 11, I remember I felt really embarrassed in front of my teammates. But none of my teammates really, nobody said anything. They were all great guys. A lot of them are still my best friends to this day, and uh, you know, but I felt embarrassed myself, and that's kind of how I've always been. I never liked being the center of attention. I don't like, everything about me. I'm not a me guy. I'm more of a team guy. That's how I always was. I just did, in sports, I did whatever was needed to, you know, whatever the team needed me to do, I did it, and like I said, guys, this is really raw, so there ain't gonna be no editing. It's just me up here talking, and it is what it is. But you guys understand, so appreciate it. But you know, and so that initial event led to more events, and when I felt like my health was challenged, and I'm very healthy too. I've never had any health issues, nothing. This is all just hypochondria and about my health. And so when I would play sports or practices, I would always get really like anxiety before everything, really bad anxiety before everything, because I was afraid of something happening to my health. And like I said, oh my gosh, I might embarrass myself. What's everybody going to think of me? What are people going to say about me? And, it's just all that doubt and fear really starts to add up in you. And you start to just really doubt yourself more and more. And you become very fearful to do things. You become afraid. Um, you know, you, you put limits on yourself. You don't think you're capable of doing the things you want to achieve when really you are. But it's taken me so long until now. I'm 22 years old now, and that started when I was 11 years old. And it's just, like I said, it's been years and years and years. And so fast forward to my ninth grade year. All right, I'm at a new school. I went to the same school from kindergarten to eighth grade, Subic Christian School. Shout out Subic Christian. I went to the same school for my whole life. So now when I go to high school, I'm going to a change. I'm going to a new school, and it's a place that was very different than my old school, which is fine. I expected that going in, but I don't think I really realized what was going on deep down inside of me. And my whole freshman year was just really weird. I started off really timid. I remember my first day of school, I was just like really scared. I didn't really know a lot of the people. I only knew a couple. I knew probably like 10, 12 people, maybe somewhere in that range. But when you go to a new spot, you're uncomfortable. You feel vulnerable, and I didn't know how to handle that at that time. I didn't really understand how to process these type of things. I just kind of just thought I took them as a bad thing, when really they're normal. And man, I remember that first day walking out the back door, just how nervous I was, and the whole thing just hit me as I was walking out the door that day. Like, okay, I'm going to a new place right now. I'm not going to the same place I went for, almost 10 years. And I remember as the year went on, I remember I wanted to try out for basketball. I love basketball, football, baseball. I played all three my whole life. And I remember my first the basketball tryout. I remember I made the team, and I was sad I made the team. I know it sounds crazy, right? Well, you know why I was sad I made the team? Is because I was so afraid, okay, now every day, I gotta worry about my health every day. Like, I always just thought I had to, like I said, with that hypochondria builds, and you see a lot of these people that are always on guard of their health, and they do all these, precautionary things that's so unnecessary. I thought I had to do that myself, because I never wanted to have what happened when I was 11 years old again. And so, I was upset in that whole season. I wasn't myself. I got injured a couple times. I sprained a ligament in my knee, um, or strained. It was a strained tendon. That's what I had in my knee. Never had that happen before. And then I ended up rolling my ankle. And then by that time, I was kind of checked out. I was checked out because I just wasn't happy. I didn't, I had all this fear going on inside of me, and I didn't want to. Like we would sometimes our team would have practice, and I wouldn't even practice. I would stand on the sideline. I was so afraid to go out there and just move around. That feeling of getting my heart rate up and sweating, and having those symptoms of anxiety really scared me. I didn't know, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what anxiety was until I was 15 years old, 16 years old. I never even knew what it was. So this whole time, you got to remember, so back to when I'm 11 years old to that up to that point when I'm 15, I don't know how to handle this. I don't know what this is. And yeah, man, I mean, that whole year was just like a blur. I mean, just a lot of doubt, a lot of not allowing myself to just be and not speaking up. That's kind of always been my problem is I don't speak up. Well, I used to be my problem. I speak up a lot more now, especially doing this today really is a great step in that direction. And I almost put something out there too. This is why I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable, because I know I'm not the only one out there that has all this stuff. And if it takes me to be vulnerable to help with you guys, just like I have a lot of people that have inspired me that were vulnerable to help me, then it's all worth it. And whatever happens, happens. I don't care how many views this video gets. I'm not in this for views. I'm not in this for popularity contest. I don't care about any of that stuff. All right? I'm here to put this out there to help people, but also to help myself. And so no, sorry, I got a little sidetracked. I might tend to do that. But anyways, so back to, my freshman year. I remember when the basketball season was over, I was kind of glad because I was like, whew, okay, I don't got to worry about my health anymore. But now my dad and my mom really wanted me to play football. And, I liked football. I played football from, age of 7 all the way up until age 12, 13. Yeah, 13. And I took a year off my 8th grade year. So then I didn't play my 9th grade year. I almost did my 9th grade year, but I was too scared to play because my health anxiety. I didn't want to play. And so we're like, okay, your sophomore year, you're going to play. And I was like, okay. I wasn't fully 100% in on doing it because of my fear. And I love the sport of football, and I like playing football. But I don't think it was the fact of playing football. I think it was more of my health anxiety. I was so scared because my initial event was in football, outside in the heat. If anybody knows you play football, you're going to be practicing in the heat. It's tough. Training's tough. It sucks. But it's well worth it. You got to go through that training to get prepared for the season. But I was always scared of that because I'm worried about my health. And so now here we are. And we started doing workouts in April of that year, team workouts. And you go work out, try to get in shape, get ready for the season, slowly progress towards the season. And I was just like half-hearted. I'm half-hearted, so that means I'm really not really engaged into it. So I'm at the workouts. I'm not really working out that hard. And, I'm kind of like, just, I don't want to do this. But my mom and dad wanted me to so bad. And I think that kind of made me like, okay, I feel like I had no choice. And so, by the way, if you guys hear anything in the background, I got some construction going on in my house, so it is what it is. Like I said, this is raw. This is who I am. So, yeah. Anyways, but, man, I got sidetracked for a second. Okay. Yeah, so I started doing the workouts in April, and, it was all just fear. And looking back, it took me years to figure out what happened, what was going on, that, it was all just fear. It was all the fear of my health failing on me, having an incident, being afraid, and being embarrassed. And so as the training progressed and went on, I get to June, I get to July, it starts to ramp up. We're doing 7 a.m. workouts in June. my mom and dad had to like drag me out of the house literally some mornings just to go to the workouts because I didn't want to go. I was so afraid to go. I wouldn't sleep all night. Uh, I wouldn't. I would just be up all night so scared. I almost had like insomnia just from fear and just I didn't want to go in the morning. I remember waking up in the morning just crying to my mom and dad, like, Mom and Dad, I don't want to go. I'm screaming, I don't want to go. And my mom and dad don't really know what's going on. Like, I'm the first child, so out of two. So they didn't really know how to handle this as well. Nobody did. My parents, nobody, my family, friends, classmates, teammates, coaches, nobody knew what was going on. Uh, Even my doctors didn't really know what was going on. And and so this is kind of like put all this together. I'm really scattering. I'm just kind of like survival mode every day. And and so as the summer went on, the workouts got tough. Getting to the workouts every day was just a challenge. Uh, and I would always be fearful after one workout was done. I would always be fearful going to the next one. And it was just a long summer. And then we got the practices. And at one point, I removed myself from the team, but my mom and dad said, well, if you remove yourself from the team, then you're going to take you out of the school. And I didn't want that to happen because I didn't want to go to my other options because I didn't really like those places. I was comfortable. I was getting more comfortable where I was, and I didn't want to change again. So I was like, okay, I guess I have no choice. And that kind of made more pressure on myself, especially when I didn't know what I was doing. And so as the summer went on, my panic attacks just got really, really bad. And yeah, I think my couple of my coaches, I was mad at them for a while. I'm not anymore though. I forgive them because they didn't know. Nobody knew what was going on with me. And so I think a lot of times we would be in drills and I would start getting an anxiety attack at the drill and I would pull myself out of the drill. I would like basically quit the drill. And the coach would, pretty much say like, oh, why are you quitting? Why are you quitting? Thought I was just a weak kid. I wasn't quitting because I was weak. I was having a panic attack on the field. You have anybody who's had a panic attack, they're scary. Like, you need to like sit down and take a deep breath and do all that. And I don't know about any of this stuff yet, so I'm kind of just on the move, just doing it, just weighing it, which is not an effective strategy at all. And so I'm just getting through the summer, and it's getting worse. My coaches are really yelling at me, and it gets to a point where I just had enough. The school year had started, my schoolwork declined. Everything just went south. And I was just probably the lowest point I've ever felt in my life up to that point. And so it got to the point, it got so bad where one day I just left the school. I just walked out the door. I had a panic attack. I went in the bathroom and was panicking real bad. I remember the school police officer had to come and help me get out of the bathroom and calm me down. And it was very challenging that period. But I made it out of that bathroom. I got in the car and I remember just pulling out of there, just like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Like, what the hell just happened? And I just became more and more fearful of going back to that school. The panic attacks made me more fearful of having another one. And so, I eventually, my mom and dad pulled me out of the school, and I tried doing homeschooling, but I got to the point where I couldn't even be home by myself every day because I was so fearful of being alone. And, it was just very dark period. And I didn't know what to do, where to go, and what direction. And so I started to cope a lot more. I was taking medication, and disclaimer: don't say I'm not anti-medicine. I use medicine. I don't just want to put that out there because I know some people might ask, "Do you believe in medicine? Did it work for you?" I'm not your doctor. I can't say anything for you. But I used it temporarily. I'm not on medication anymore, so I just want to put that out there. But anyways, back to where I was going. So I used medication for a while, and now I'm 16 years old, and every day's a challenge. And I gained a ton of weight. I got really big. I the anxiety made me overeat. I feel like I had to eat and like really eat a lot of food because I had a comfort with food, and I still have up until today, and I'm starting to really get out of it now. And just a comfort with food. I think I have to drink so much water to stay hydrated because all that fear from my health anxiety back from that initial incident when I was 11 years old. And, it just really just took me all the way to that point, to a dark place, and it just progressed for years. And this was in 2015. So 2015, and then we get to 2016, I'm starting to do a little better. I'm going to counseling. I'm starting to get out more. I'm challenging myself more. And then by the end of that year, I'm really pushing myself more. I'm driving further. I had agoraphobia where I got to the point where I couldn't leave. I go further a block from my house at one point. And so it took a while to progress away from the house. I was afraid of being away from home. And man, that was a really dark period. But yeah, man, it's like I said, this is raw, so it is what it is. And that was a really dark period, and that feeling of feeling like you never make it out again. Well, you start to doubt, will I ever get out of this? Why God, why mom and dad, why am I here? What happened to me? I was supposed to do this and that. Why am I here? Right? And man, it took a while to really get out away from that house, and but I started to progress over time. And by the end of 2016, I was going a little further, probably 45 minutes away from the home, and that was good. And I really started to get out more every day, where my anxiety wasn't bothering me as much. But I was still fearful deep down inside of my health. I would still do things to help cope with that. I wasn't healing. And so as time went on, I just really didn't realize that I was just tucking all my traumas inside of me, and it was just making a bigger hole. But I felt like I was doing good because I was getting by. And, getting by is not a great strategy to really heal your anxiety. Because those problems will always reemerge. If you don't address those problems, they'll reemerge. They're not going to go anywhere until you address them and you reframe them and you confront them. You face these things. You can't just hide your whole life. You're not going to get anywhere. I was hiding from doing this video for years because I was afraid of what people might think. And I'm to the point now where, especially where I've been recently, the past couple of weeks, I've been pushed to the max. Like, I'm just like, you know what? It's time. It's time to go out here and do what I fear. Before this video today, I was really nervous to do this, but I knew it was the right thing to do. I knew this is what God wants me to do. And so that's why I'm here now, talking to you guys. And so going back to, so 2016, 2017, I'm doing okay, but I lost my dog, and that really hurt. Obviously, a loss. I had a lot of loss in my life growing up too. People have died, or family members have moved away. No, because they do what's best for them. And I've had a lot of loss in my life too, I think, and it took me years to really figure that out. That people in and out of my life, and just how life goes sometimes. But you have to replace those relationships with new ones, and that's something I'm still working on now. And I'm still a work in progress, guys. Like I'm still going through it today. I've come a long way. I'm not where I used to be. I'm a lot more knowledgeable now. I know what I need to do now. I have a good plan in place. Now it's just implementing it and really growing day by day and just taking my time. Like, I've always put too much pressure on myself. I think a lot of it's because people always put a lot of pressure on me growing up. That's how I felt. There was a lot of expectations on me. People always wanted me to be great, but people used to tell me they see great things in me. And that pressure, you always feel like you have to live up to a certain standard. And, that I think also didn't help either. Because you put that much pressure when you're younger on a kid, when he's that young, he starts to believe he has to be perfect all the time. And I became a perfectionist as well. Not only am I a hypochondriac, but I became a perfectionist. And, that really just really took a toll on me as well. That always having to keep up to those standards and doing all those things and that people wanted me to do, and feeling like I had to be a certain person all the time, when really just be who you want to be. That's all that matters. Just be who you want to be. You don't have to be what anybody else wants you. Not what this world wants you to be, what society wants you to be. Just be you. God created us all individually for a reason. We're all unique in our own way. We all bring something unique to the table. And don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise. And, and that took me a while to get to that point. To realize that, like, hey, I really can be what I want to be. But it took me some time, like I said. So I lost my dog. And then we get told we have to move out of our home. And that's a big step as well. Because, okay, I lived in this home for 7 years. Now I have to leave it. That's going to be a lot of change, That's, whoa, like, can I handle that? But it all worked out, though. God took care of us. He put us in a new home where I wasn't familiar with the environment. I lived close to family, literally right around the corner. And he gave me that peace and comfort to get through that time. I didn't understand at that time. This is in 2017 now. I'm 17 years old. And I didn't understand what he was doing at that time. I was like, why do I have to change? Like, I was doing so well, now my anxiety's spiking up again because I have to move. All this change is really affecting me now and make my anxiety become worse again. And I didn't know what to do. So now I'm starting to become a lot more anxious again, and the change is really getting to me. I'm afraid to be alone again. I'm really afraid to be in a new environment, a new home, all this change, and all my anxiety that I pushed off and coped with was coming back now. I'm starting to fear my health again. I'm gaining weight again. Just getting in a really depressed hole. And when we moved into our new house, I didn't really leave the house for a year. Like, I got that down. Like, it was that hard for me to get out of the house. But I got a bike. And I do bike. I bike all over town. That's how I exercise. The biking has helped me tremendously in my life. Especially the last 3 years. It's been, my gosh, one of the best things I've ever had is that bike. And because that bike helped me slowly, where I would challenge myself. Okay, I'm going to go a block further. Then I'm going to go 2 blocks further. And then more and more and more. You guys get what I'm saying? And start to spread myself out more. And so 2018 to 2019, I'm 18, 19 years old now at that point. I'm really pushing myself further away from the house. Mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. Then I'm staying out longer. I'm going out multiple times a day. But it got to a point where I got a little too down on myself, where if I didn't reach when I would leave the house, I would say, okay, I'm going to go to this point. And if I didn't reach that point, then I would get down on myself. Sometimes I would panic and come home, and I'd call my mom, and I'd race home, and I'd get really down on myself like I didn't accomplish that. I think there's that perfectionist mentality, right? And so, I got to the point, guys, I did things. There was times I went road at midnight in the middle of winter, and I remember one night it was negative 30 wind chill, and about 2 feet of snow on the ground, and I'm out biking. I'm out biking because I feel like I just had to reach that goal. I was just so sick and tired of being where I was, staying at home all day and not being able to, just so down and depressed. I said, I'm not taking it anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. And I just pushed and pushed and pushed. But I remember that night, that's when I said, okay. I got to a point that night where I was at an intersection at a red light. Why I stopped at a red light, because nobody's out. I don't know why, but something made me just stop. And I looked down at my speedometer on my bike, and it has the time on it, and it said 12:30 a.m. And I just looked around, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing out here at 12:30 at night on a bike? In this cold, and just all the snow. Like, what am I doing? How did I get to this point? But then I didn't understand, like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Like, why can't I just go live the life I want to live? Why can't I be free like I see everybody else being free? And, you know, that moment though really made me think. It made me, I got to the point where I just went home one day, a couple weeks, maybe like 2, 3 weeks, a little short time after that. I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And, I broke down to my dad one day in the basement. We were down in the basement, and I just got back, and I was just fed up. I was angry. On my way home, I lost my glasses. They fell out of my pocket on my ride, and I was so like, oh my gosh, I got to go back to that. I got to go back there again because maybe it was still challenging to leave the house. And I'm like, gosh, I got to go back and get my glasses. I don't have my oh my gosh, just catastrophic thinking, worst case scenario. And it got to the point where I just broke down crying, and I told my dad, like, I'm tired of going to the same route. I'm tired of doing the same thing every day. I'm just tired of this. And my mom, I talked to her, and they both were like, hey, you know, you can do this. You can go a different way. You don't have to go the same direction all the time. You could do something else. You can change your life. You can maybe ride this direction now. Go to the opposite way, and you'll start to see, like, hey, I really can do what I want, slowly but surely. And yeah, it really made me think. I said, okay, let's try it. So I started to go another direction on the bike, and I started to see, like, hey, over time, it was challenging at first, a little scary, because I was going to environments that were only 2 minutes from my house, but I hadn't been to this environment in a long time, in a year and a half. I've been out of the block of my house, and so, a little challenging. But each step though along the way, I started to push, and I started to say, okay, I'm feeling it now. I'm feeling the change. I'm starting to feel better about myself. My self-esteem starting to pick up, my confidence, up just step by step by step. And by the end of 2019, I had such a great summer that summer of just biking. I was only going a certain amount away from my house, but I was starting to become a lot more content and more confident that I can really be who I want to desire. I can go anywhere in the world. I could live the life I want to live. And, I started to feel that again. And, like a kid, childlike, just creative mind and really good, really confident. And so I get to 2019. Now I'm thinking about, okay, I'm gonna push myself more. So I started going to the local rec center. One day I just decided to go. I was like, I'm gonna challenge myself. And so that whole time we're talking the winter now, 2019 to 2020. That whole winter for 3 months, I went to the rec center a lot. And I started to push myself, and I started to get comfortable. Like, hey, I really can go and I wanted to go inside in the winter and play basketball. You can't outside, obviously, because it's cold and snowing. I didn't want to sit in the house, because I was out on the bike all summer. I'm like, okay, now it's gonna be cold. What do I do? I don't want to ride in the cold all winter again. And so, I got to the point there where I said, okay, I was pushing myself more. I was, getting in the car, going to places now, expanding my range, doing things, and my confidence is growing. And, I get to a point where I'm going to the rec center every day. And each day I'm going, it's getting better and better. But I still wasn't, I was still on guard of my health. I never really addressed that. I was still concealing things. I was still afraid of embarrassment. I was still afraid to tell what I really think. What am I really thinking in my head? What I really want. But I was also being too hard on myself still. That perfectionist mentality was still there. And so I really just got to the point about March of 2020, right before everything happened with the world, with COVID. And I was getting a little burned out, like I was I was getting a little burned out, but I was also like, okay, the last couple times I went to the rec center for everything shut down, I was still feeling a little, I don't know, like kind of empty, I guess you could say. Just like why I was still feeling anxious. I was getting real bad anxiety. I'm like, why? Like, why aren't things changing? And I start to question again, to doubt. And then everything shuts down. And so, obviously that affected everybody. When you see the whole world just change in a blink of an eye. And that obviously, affected me because with my health anxiety, like it did, again, I'm not a victim. That whole affected everybody that whole time period in our world. I mean, that was something that we probably we'd never see in our lifetime, and hopefully never see again. But anyways, just seeing all that change, and I still wasn't doing well with change, things I couldn't control. I had a hard time believing that I can't control things, and that a lot of it's that perfectionist mentality, thinking I have to always be in control and do things a certain way. And I started to go down on a hole again, slowly. And I started to not do as much. I started to become more fearful again. And, I just kind of I started to doubt myself again, and my health anxiety was really coming back up. And, I'm just not really doing as well again. I'm doubting myself. So, and here all that is again. And I didn't know what to do. I was just stuck. It was just kind of just felt stuck. I didn't know where to go. So I started to push myself again, and I started to slowly build my way back out again. And by the end of that year, I started actually doing really good. I got off medication because I felt like I didn't need it anymore. I was riding to places that I didn't think I could ride my bike to, like far away from my house, in about an hour or so. And about an hour. So, which was big. That was a big win for me. And I'm getting around in the car. I'm getting around the city in the car now. I'm pushing myself to different places. I'm doing all these things. And beginning of 2021, I'm feeling really good. I'm starting to, I found a lot of people that have inspired me in my life, like Laird Hamilton, who's a big wave surfer, Kwame Brown, seeing him come out and tell his story, how everybody picked on him all those years and put out this false narrative on him. One of the guys that has helped me tremendously with my anxiety is a guy on YouTube called The Anxiety Guy, Dennis Simsek, who is, I don't know if there's a better YouTube channel for everybody than that guy. It'll change your whole life, and I highly recommend you guys check him out. And, Kobe Bryant had passed away, and I wouldn't say I was always the biggest fan of Kobe Bryant, but because I grew up in the East Coast. I never really watched the Lakers games growing up because I was always time to go to bed, and because they were on late. But when he passed, I really saw a lot of his videos, and just videos of him on different podcasts, and his latter years, and just his mindset and how he approached life really inspired me. And I really just dug deep into him, and I read his book, The Mama Mentality, and that book really helped give me a new perspective on things, and kind of how he approached his everyday process of life, and just how in tune he was. And he had a lot of ups and downs in his career, and same with Kwame Brown, and all these guys, or all these people I was listening to. And I really I was really pushing myself now last year to really do things I didn't think I could do. And I'm really riding far now, and I'm getting in the car, going further now, and talking in the car, I'm probably going 25, 30 minutes away from my home. And I'm really starting to feel better. I had a lot of trust in my body now, because I got in the best shape of my life. I really lost a lot of weight, and once I got the medication in October, I started to feel a lot more free, because that was a big win for me. I'm off medication. And that whole winter going into 2021, and then all of last year, well, not say all of last year, but the beginning of last year up until about the summer, I started to really be really confident. Still not doing all the things I want to do yet. I'm still not going out a further distance and doing all the things I truly want yet, but I was feeling good. Okay, I'm getting there. I had a lot of trust in my body. I had a lot of good daily habits. I was, like I said, the healthiest I've ever been. But I was still coping. And I got to a point last summer where I just started to feel different. And I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know, why do I feel why isn't this stuff working? I'm doing all these things, I'm feeling good, but something's still just telling me something's not right. And at this time, I was started envisioning doing a podcast. I wanted to come on and share my story, and I thought it'd be really good for me, and it's something I've been interested in doing, and I wasn't doing it at that time because I was putting it off, and I just kept putting it off because I was scared to do it. And I was like, now all that doubt's coming back again. What are people going to think? I'm afraid of embarrassment. I'm holding things in. I'm concealing things. I'm scared of my health anxiety started to increase. And I got to the point where in August, I just had a really bad panic attack one night. And just a really bad panic attack. One of the worst ones I'd had. And, I've gotten panic attacks before, guys. It was so bad where you shake, you're yelling, you're screaming, you're just scared. I mean, you feel like you're going to die. And obviously, anxiety and panic can't kill you. It's just temporary. It's like a storm. You see a storm on the horizon. It comes in, it has its peak, and then it leaves. But there's always you still have those little when after you have a panic attack, that doubt starts to creep back in. Those little doubts, they start to really play with your mind. And at the end of August, by the end of that summer, I was just really burned out. I wasn't happy. It wasn't, I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I had this panic attack, and now I'm having a couple more panic attacks. And then it took me some time. I'd say back in August, September, I had to really slow down and get myself together. And I didn't like being, I'm still working on myself. I don't like being home alone for long days and long periods because I get really bad separation anxiety. And my mom and dad have seen me at my worst, so I feel most comfortable around them. But if I go around other people, I don't think, they never see me have a bad panic attack like that, and what I really think in my mind, why I really think this way, why do I have these type of feelings and anxiousness all the time, and just being scared. And I've come to realize that you can't conceal things. That actually makes it worse. The truth will set you free. And there's people out there that are going through the same thing you're going through, maybe even worse. And that's what made me do this video today. It's because I've gotten to a point now where I've really pushed myself recently, especially this past week. I'm exhausted. I'm a little tired I've had some panic attacks this week because I've really pushed myself this week. And I've started to see that I really am capable. I really can do the things that I want to do. But I also feel like what's missing? Well, I've always concealed these things. And I'm not concealing these things anymore. And this is my account to you guys, to the whole world, whoever sees this, especially the people that know me. And I think a lot of people know what I've been going through. I've told them, my mom and dad's told them, or whatever. But I've kind of been hiding out for the last 6-7 years, and I'm kind of at the point now where I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. I want what's best for me. I'm not going to accept this anymore. I'm going to live my life. And what really also, I think, made me start to really challenge myself was a gentleman who was a neighbor of mine who passed away in November suddenly, was a guy by the name of Rick Briggs. Rick Briggs was, I encourage you guys to go look him up on Google. You'll probably see his obituary and a lot of his life story. He passed away in November, like I said, tragically and suddenly. And my condolences to his family and prayers and his friends. But Rick really made an impact on my life. Because in August, when I was really going through a rough time, one day I stopped by at his house. He was outside. And he was he liked to travel a lot. Him and his wife had a bike. They like to ride their bikes, and motorcycle bikes and stuff like that, and like to go on trips and get off. They park their van and go take the bike out and go ride on trips and around the West Coast or whatever. And so when he was loading his van, I saw him. I said, "Well, man, I'll stop and help him." And I had done some work for him. I started doing landscaping, and so I probably forgot to mention that. During this time, back in 2016, I started doing landscaping, lawn service, just locally around my neighborhood, because it was something for me to do. I just always enjoyed doing that kind of work because it was relaxing. And Rick and I became pretty good friends, and I really just admired his lifestyle. And he's a very successful guy and very fearless and just a creative mind. And this one day I stopped. I started to talk to him, and I said I was already thinking about my plan was to do a podcast, but I didn't know what to do. And I remember I just talked to him about it, and I said, hey, I might. He had just opened a building around here with like a little office space building. I said, yeah, I want to start a podcast, and one day I might get my own little place, like my own studio, and maybe I'll use your place. He's like, yeah. But I remember what he always told me was what I always get from him is just go do it. Don't wait. Don't wait on life. Just go chase things. Go get the things you want. If you just sit and wait, they're not going to come to you. You have to make things happen. And it is a little scary at first when you start to step out. Like this week, the last couple of weeks, I've really started to step out more. And it's been a little scary at times. Really scary. But I've also now gotten to a point where I've really expressed myself. And when Rick passed away in November, I remember when I found out that really just the first thing I thought of was him telling me, like, hey, you got to go do this. Like, it's time. Like, don't wait. You look at his career. That guy didn't wait for anything. He had a unique mind, a creative mind, and it worked out well for him. He didn't care what people thought. He just went and made things happen. And he lived an incredible life, lived a hell of a testimony. And he not only impacted my life, he impacted anybody that knew Rick, he impacted their life. And if you went and read his story on Google, you would know why. So November really was, I started to really question things and start to figure out, like, hey, what do I really want to do with my life? And I think from November until now, I started working with a counselor again back in September because I needed it. I needed to just talk to somebody. I needed to start getting an actual plan in place for my life to really heal, not cope anymore, and get to the place where I want to be and do the things that I want to do. I've sat back and watched things on the whole world go by the last 6-7 years, and I'm still here. I've made it this far, but I want to do the things I want to do. I want to live life too, like everybody else. But I've also, the last 6-7 years, have had kind of a bird's eye view of the world. And it's also made me sit back and see things that I see a lot of things that we do in society. I see a lot of things that people I knew are doing. A lot of the bad habits and things that I don't really particularly care for, like especially lifestyle-wise, living a healthy lifestyle and just living a real fulfilling life. And so I think through all of this, it was all God's plan, obviously, and it took me a while to understand why. But I'm at the point now where, okay, I've learned all the knowledge I can about anxiety. I know I'm healthy because I am okay. I've made it this far. I've been through anything you could think of, any scenario, I've probably been through it. And my worst fears never happened. And our worst fears usually never happen. They're usually just illusions. Some things we can't control. But the things that we make up in our mind, that we fear the most, the doubt, and these things that we really fear, that really keep us up at night, that really hinder ourselves. We feel like we have a limit. We feel like we can only go this far. That's not true. And I'm starting to realize that more and more every day. And so, now I'm at a point where, I think since November when he passed up until now, I've done a lot of reflecting. Kind of just reflecting, like, what do I want to do with my life? And I've kind of figured out, too, just kind of how bored I've been. Just sitting. Just kind of sitting every day. I go out and I work out. I go ride my bike. I do my workout and I do all that stuff. But I'm still not doing what I want to do day to day. I'm not truly doing what I want. But watching all these other guys like on YouTube that just just turned on their camera and just started filming their life and their story and how they've helped people, has really started to inspire me that, like, you know what, I can do this. And I don't care what people think. Who cares what people think? You know what I mean? Like, nobody cares. We're all in the same boat together. Like, we all go through life the same way. We all, wake up every morning. We all go to bed. We all eat. We all do the same things. Well, why be scared to share your story? Why be scared to help people? And what really made me do this today was, this week I've had my mom and sister have been out of town, and so my dad and I have been around the house, and I've had a little separation anxiety, pretty good, because I'm still working out things why I have this health anxiety, why. What I've started to realize, though, is I've just always concealed this thing. I'm always been afraid of what people think. I'm afraid of that embarrassment. When I was 11 years old, I never wanted to feel that again. And, I'm just at the point now where, who cares? I have nothing to lose. My worst fears never happened. And that the best way to heal is to help other people and to share your testimony, share your story. And that's where I am now. And I feel really good with where I'm going. Yes, it's kind of an unknown world when you start to get out again. And I'm seeing places I haven't been to in a long time. And even though it's only 20 minutes away from my house, I'm still, it feels good. Like, I'm okay, I can build off this now. I can go further. And before you know it, I'm going to be going all over the world where I want to go. Anywhere I want to go in the world. Travel anywhere I want, doing what I want. I'm going to get there. But it takes steps. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes an actual plan. It takes a realistic plan as well. But it also, finding people that have been where you are is the best thing. Because up until 2018, so that first 3 years, really, from 2011 till 2018. In that time period, I didn't know who to lean on. I didn't know who to ask about all these things. I didn't know. Nobody knew. Nobody really understood the things I was thinking, the symptoms, because nobody I was around has really been there to that level of anxiety. People have anxiety, but I was at a level 9, 10 anxiety. And when I found the Anxiety Guys YouTube, it really I heard somebody who has been to where I was, and it really started to help my confidence, and I started to become more informed. I binge watched so many of his podcasts and his videos, and it's all led me to where I am now, to where now I feel like I'm ready. Like, I'm ready now. I can turn the corner. You might have some good days, you might have some bad days, but that's part of life. And at the end of the day, I am okay. I've made it this far. My worst fears never happened, and my worst fear probably never will happen. Because it's all just an illusion. And that's what I've learned to this point now. And this is why I'm here today, like I said, making this video, to share my story and to let people know, like, hey, if you're out there right now in a bad place in your life, you feel like you have no hope, you feel like you're just no hope and just nowhere to go. Like, it's like you're just trapped. And, I was like that kind of recently. It happens sometimes. Don't think there isn't a way out. There's always a way out. And things are never really as bad. You're never as far away as you think you are. A lot of times you're just right there. And I've learned that. And now it's doing it more consistently. And you're never far away. But I would also say don't hide. Don't let things build up inside of you. Just live life, man. Like, be free. Like, just share your story. Build a community around you. Have a good group of people around you that you trust. And just trust in God. And just know that you're healthy. You're fine. If you have health anxiety, obviously, I'm talking for me. My health is fine. I know my anxiety symptoms and panic and everything, that's not the issue. Those things aren't going to kill me. No damage has been done because of all those panic attacks and symptoms I've had. It all starts up here. And realizing what really makes you, what are you really scared of? And I realized what I'm really scared of was I was scared of having embarrassment in public. I was afraid of telling people what I've really going through. I'm not scared anymore. And that's, again, this is why I'm putting this video out here today. Raw. I know it's been a long, going up 55 minutes now. It is what it is. And I know this will help me putting my testimony out there. And, I'm still a work in progress. I've still got a long way to go. I don't say a long way to go, but I'm still going to where I want to get to. But anybody out there, you guys can get, is where I am. You guys can make it there too. We're all in this together. And so this is my first video of my podcast, and I'd love to hear you guys' feedback, and feel free to share this if anybody you feel like needs it. Like I said, I'm not in this for popularity. I'm not in this for likes. I'm not in this for anything. I'm in this because I have a passion for it, because the Lord told me to do this. I feel the Lord has called me to do this, and that's why I'm here today. And I saw some things the last couple of days. I've seen people in really bad circumstances I've been going through a rough time myself. The last week, and seeing homeless people on the side of the road, and people just really homeless and just standing on the side of the road all day. And my life's really not as bad as I thought it was, even if I'm having bad days. And so that's why I'm here. And that made me to sit here today and tell this to you guys. And so, like I said, this is my account of my anxiety and panic. I'd love to hear you guys' feedback, and I'd like to plan on doing more of these type of podcasts on anxiety, or just life in general. Or everybody knows I like sports as well, so I might start doing more of a sports reaction, maybe, or live streams or stuff like that. Yeah, this is kind of something I'm really interested in, is just kind of podcasting, YouTube, and this is kind of where my passion has led me. And so I appreciate you guys tuning in today. Like I said, feel free to share this if anybody feels it needs it. I'd love to hear you guys' feedback. And I appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to me. And this is where I've been the last 6-7 years. If you haven't seen me in a while, nice to see you. Love to hear from you guys. Feel free to hit me up if you still have my number, or on Instagram, Facebook. And yeah, man, this is where I am. Peace.